Greetings, Commanders, and welcome back to another episode of the Captain's Log. My name is Beck. I am one of the community managers here, and on this show, what we do is we take a sneak peek look at the people who are working behind the scenes on Star Trek Fleet Command. Today, we have a wonderful guest with us. We have Bart Urbanek. How are you doing?
Good. How are you doing?
I am doing fantastic. So, obviously, the first question is, who are you? And maybe just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, definitely. So I'm from Chicago. I moved out to LA about a year and a half ago, just a little bit over. But, much like a lot of people on this team, I've been a lifelong gamer. Going all the way back to probably NES, when I think my favorite game at the time when I was a kid was Metroid, which is pretty funny because I feel like that started my way into the sci-fi universe of games, and I'm still in it now.
You're still in it now, so that makes me wonder, how on earth did you end up at Scopely?
Yeah, and by still in it now, I guess that makes it seem like I've been in games for a long time, but I have not. I've had a few different careers, from being in music to working at restaurants. And then before Scopely, I was working as a PM in Chicago for a startup. And I just really wanted to make the dive into games. And so, started interviewing. Luckily, I got an interview with them. And luckily, I was able to make it onto the Star Trek team, which I jumped into and flew straight to LA and haven't looked back yet. Yeah.
Wow. How long ago was that? So how long have you been with Scopely?
Yeah. So I think it's just over a year and a half. So my 2-year anniversary is in August.
Coming up.
Yeah, it's coming up. Coming up soon.
So then, does that make you a Star Trek fan?
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to think that I'm more of a sci-fi fan overall.
Right.
But Star Trek is definitely, a big part of that.
Right. So, I mean, the follow-up question to that is, being a Star Trek fan, what would be your favorite series and your favorite captain? Because those don't always coincide.
Yes, true. I have to go. I'd probably go DS9 as my favorite series, but something that I'm really looking forward to is Strange New Worlds. It's new, but I really like the first season, and I'm excited in the direction that they're going. And I mean, right now, I guess if we're going with the new one, I have faith in the new Captain Pike and Anson Mount. So I'm really excited about that series, and hopefully the next season is just as good, if not better than the first one.
I have to ask, did that feeling and that respect for Strange New Worlds, that hope, maybe inspire your outfit today?
Maybe a little bit.
Maybe a little bit.
Yeah, I might have some subconscious Star Trek leaking into my brain. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Well, I had to ask that naturally. I mean, you're working on a Star Trek game, have to ask the questions about Star Trek. Moving back into a little bit more about you and what you do here at Scopely, what exactly is your job here? Like, what do you do? What's your day today?
Yeah, so right now I'm working as an associate product manager for Star Trek Fleet Command. And my day-to-day really is to do live ops and performance. So that is, working on arcs, working on features, making sure that they launch well in the game, and making sure that our players enjoy playing them.
Absolutely. So when you say working on arcs, have you run your own arc before?
Yes, I've run a few. My fourth one is coming up this year. That I'm slowly starting to work on.
I love that. Okay, so what was your most recent arc then? Because, the players are now curious, what have you done?
Yeah, definitely. So my most recent one was Assimilation Part 1. So if you guys remember that, that is when Fleet Commanders launched, and Borg, the new Borg solo armadas as well. So, I hope everybody liked that one. It was a good time for me and got to work on a lot of new stuff. Fleet Commanders was a big feature, so spent many months working on that before it launched.
Right.
But, the team is great. Got to work with so many awesome people on Scopely. And that's the cool part about being a part of different features that launch during your arc.
That's awesome. Okay, then with ARCs, what would you say is the most challenging thing? And then I guess the follow up to that is, what's the most fun thing about working on arcs?
Yeah, so the most challenging part, I'd say, is dealing with new content and features, because there are so many people that you have to work with and talk to that it's, oftentimes it's easy to overlook something or miss something. So you really have to stay, on top of your stuff the entire time. And along with that is we have no history about how this has worked in the game before. So as a live ops person, I'm trying to figure out the math behind balancing these and making sure the events are not too hard for the players, but also hard enough to make it fun. It has to be this balance, and it's a lot harder when it's something that has never been in the game before. And then things that are fun. Anytime you can be creative, right? So that's creating these new events and working on, new tech that hasn't been in the game, like new metrics. One thing that I'm personally proud of was the Cypher events that I did, last July in the Strange New Worlds.
The irony there.
Yeah, we're bringing it back there.
Mm-hmm.
But those were just different than something we've ever done before.
Mm-hmm.
One of them was a musical cipher where you had notes, and you had to decipher the notes and to figure out what system to go to. And that was cool because it was a direct tie-in to episode 2 of Strange New Worlds season 1, Children of the Comet, where they landed on the comet and they had to decipher the musical tones to figure out how to, stop it.
Mm-hmm.
So that was just
I
a really,
that episode.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
That was a super fun episode. And I really like to bring it back any way I can to the arcs from the TV shows that they're based on.
I love the tie-in,
Mm-hmm.
the tie-in of the lore, the tie-in of the TV shows, and bringing that from outside of the game into the game, because players love that, right? Players love to be able to see how the things that they love are being set into the game. So then whenever you are working on arcs, what does that preparation usually look like? Like, what's time frame, what really goes into it?
Yeah. So, I mean, I'd like I kind of just said, I'd like to start off with a dive into the episodes or into the story of the arc that we're going into.
Mm-hmm.
So whether it's Strange New Worlds or different ones we've done in the past, it basically starts off with like, oh, I'm doing that one. Sweet. Okay. Let me go watch all of them on Paramount Plus, So I deep dive into that, get to, start exploring every possible storyline that I can maybe fit into the game some way or one way or the other. I also, then I branch out and start talking with all the different team members that are working on this, from design to narrative, to tech to roadmap. It's, what are we going to be doing this month? What can we do? What are the possibilities? And can we tie it all in together well? I think that's always a challenge, but we have a great team. I love working with everybody that is on our team right now. And, as wise lieutenant once said, there's strength in unity.
Well said. Well said. You mentioned that you are coming up on your 4th arc. How would you say your arcs have changed or adjusted over time? Like, in what ways have they changed over the time that you have been at Scopely? Because obviously your first arc is going to be looking a lot different than your 4th arc, right?
Yeah, definitely. They have changed a lot. One of the ways that they've changed is I've realized, we could do more event synergy. This, it makes a lot of players happy. Let's put a little bit more in there. And I think I've figured that out more the longer that I have been here. On top of those, we can also talk about creativity in the game. Getting to know the game better allows me to be more creative, and I think that shows in future arcs, especially when you get good at all, you start getting better at the math and the back end things. You have more time to be creative.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a big one. And also diving into the tech of the game. I think getting to understand more of the back end and what we're able to do allows for further progression of the game and for live ops in general, which I'm really excited about.
So what differences or processes have you implemented over time?
Differences in processes. All right. Well, one of them would be I've really tried hard to coordinate better with cross-functional teams. I think everything turns out better in an arc when people talk to each other across,
Yeah.
every single part, which is tough sometimes. There's so many people working across, so many different areas of the game with a game this big. But I found it to be super important, and that's not something I'm going to stop trying to do and be better at. And I think a lot of other people on live ops are doing the same thing, and I think it's starting to show a lot. Another thing is really live ops as a whole is just trying to be more consistent, for our players and for everybody, just to do better by them and, stick with things that make them happy and, make sure the game is fun to play all the time. That's the goal.
I love that. Would you say that your next arc would be introducing anything that you are excited about?
Ooh, I see what you're trying to do.
You don't have to give spoilers, but
Yeah. Well, I'm definitely excited about some of the things. I can't give the spoilers, but I will say that there are definitely some gems in there.
Okay. I accept it. Well, Bart, it's been a ton of fun. I do have to ask you, probably the most important question of the day. You ready?
All right.
Does pineapple belong on pizza?
Okay. This is a very polarizing question.
Okay.
And I'm going to maybe polarize some people with my answer, but I have to do it. Sometimes, yeah. So, okay. Well, so there are different types of pizza, right?
Oh, no.
Because if we go classical, we're thinking Neapolitan, Italian. But the thing with that pizza is the tomato sauce is very bright and acidic, right? It's very clean, clean flavored. And if you add pineapple to that, it wouldn't work because that's too much acidity. It doesn't fit. But then we go back to American pizza where, I don't know if a lot of people know this, but there's sugar in the tomato sauce. It's really sweet. And we have a habit of putting sausage or ham or bacon or pork on our pizzas, right? And pineapple just goes really well with that. The sweetness and the fattiness. If you have some acidity from a pineapple to cut that, it helps a lot. It makes it taste better. I'm not going to lie.
Well, there it is. You heard it here first. Sometimes pineapple does, in fact, belong on a pizza. And with that, Commanders, we are wrapping up our time here. We're going to do a lot more of these videos in the future, so make sure you like this video, subscribe so that way you can catch our future content, and go ahead and leave a comment down below letting us know your predictions for the next arc. Bart, thank you again for being here with us.
Thanks for having me. I really enjoyed being here, and to all of our players, hit it. Oh, I don't know. Thanks for having me. I really enjoyed being here. And to all of our players, hit it. Okay, let me do one hit it with more conviction. We'll see what happens. Thank you for having me. I really enjoyed being here. And to all of our players, hit it. And lastly, hit it. God, I hit it.